Hello students, welcome to online classes. Myself KNBR, I am going to teach you mathematics for your class 8th standard in this academic year. Children, we have got total 16 chapters in this 8th standard in mathematics. In them, first chapter is rational numbers. Children, we are going to learn in this rational numbers mainly 4 headings. Under 4 headings, first, introduction. In introduction, we have got review or recollection of various types of numbers that we have learnt in our previous classes. Next, we will be learning need of rational numbers. Next, we will be learning or we will be revisiting, since we have learnt already rational numbers in our 7th standard, definition of a rational number, example for rational numbers, and along with that we will be learning operations on rational numbers, which means how to do addition of 2 rational numbers, subtraction of 2 rational numbers, multiplication and division of any 2 rational numbers. See children, here we are going to learn next to this introduction 1.2 as a under 1.2 topic, properties of rational numbers, and next as 1.3 representation of rational numbers on the number line, and finally in conclusion we will be learning the 4th important topic, rational numbers, that is finding rational numbers between any two given rational numbers. Children, totally we have got in this chapter 2 exercises, exercise 1.2 and exercise 1.1. In exercise 1.1, based on knowledge of introduction and the properties of rational numbers, we will be having questions in exercise 1.1, and in exercise 1.2, based on the knowledge of representation of rational numbers on number line and finding rational numbers between any 2 given rational numbers, we will be having exercise 1.2. Children, in introduction, the first important thing that what we have to recollect is various types of numbers. In various types of numbers, first thing is natural numbers. You know, natural numbers are represented by using the letter capital N, and you know that to count the things in nature we need numbers. The first number that we use for counting is 1, and normally to count things we use complete numbers. Next to 1, as a successor of 1, we have 2, which we use for counting things. The numbers used for counting things in the nature are called counting numbers, and they are also separately called as natural numbers. Natural numbers are all the counting numbers. The smallest natural number is 1, and successor of it is 2, and we have got so on so many natural numbers. Natural numbers are countless in nature because you cannot say this as a last number. If you say 100 as a last natural number or biggest natural number, anyone can certainly say one more than that and say that 101 as a next to that natural number. Similarly, we have no end to these natural numbers. So, number of natural numbers are countless in nature, or we call infinitely many, or uncountable. Therefore, the biggest natural number is infinity. Infinity is normally represented using the symbol this way. It is called infinity, which means uncountable or countless. The smallest natural number is 1. That is another important thing which we have to remember in natural number set. And all the natural numbers are complete numbers, full in nature, whole, they are not at all apart. See children, in natural numbers we have one important property, that is absolute difference between any 2 continuous natural numbers. The difference between absolute difference. Absolute difference means difference between a bigger number and a smaller number. Suppose if you take any two continuous natural numbers such as 15 and 16, amongst them the bigger number 16 minus smaller number 15 gives us 1. This is one important property of natural numbers. The difference between any two continuous natural numbers is always 1, which indirectly tells all the natural numbers are complete numbers, not part, not as a fraction. Next to that we have got whole numbers. All the natural numbers, that means all the counting numbers, along with the 0, called as whole number set, and whole number set is represented by the letter W. Children, do you know the speciality of 0 and who has invented the 0? Yes, 0 is invented by our great ancient Indian mathematician Aryabhatta. And what is the purpose of 0? The purpose of 0 is occupying the place in a big number. Without 0 you cannot represent big numbers. If you want to represent any big number, you require a place occupier, and 0 plays an important role in the mathematics. We are proud of our Indian mathematician Aryabhatta, who has invented 0. Next, see children, here in whole number system, since 0 has come along with the natural numbers, obviously the smallest whole number is 0, and the biggest whole number, as they are countless in nature, definitely the biggest whole number is again infinity. And we have got third important property, just like in natural number set, that is the absolute difference between any two continuous natural numbers being 1. Similarly, even in whole numbers also, the difference between any two continuous whole numbers is 1. You may get doubt that what happens if I consider 0 and 1? Even there also the difference between 0 and 1, absolute difference, whereas 1 minus 0 remains as 1. So importantly, we have got three things to remember in whole numbers. 1, smallest whole number is 0, the biggest whole number is infinity, and the absolute difference between any two continuous whole numbers is 1. And whole number set is represented by W, and number of whole numbers are infinitely many. See children, next to these whole numbers we have got integers. Integers are represented by the letter Z. Why these integers are represented by using the letter Z? Z is because integers are called Jahlan numbers in German language. What is the meaning of Jahlan in German language? Jahlan means to count in German language. That means integers are also used for counting things in Germany. Maybe they might have got some reason behind. Could you guess what would be that reason? No. Anyways, Germany falls under European continent. In European continent, normally temperature is very severe, where you can find sometimes cold being so much so that it falls below 0. How we have got now the temperature in our India sometimes shooting up to 45 degrees Celsius. There in winters the severity of coldness falls below 0. That falling below 0 made them to have a number counting below 0. That's how negative numbers have come. Children, in integers we have got all the whole numbers, that is 0, 1, 2, 3. Along with them their images. What do you mean by their image? It means, for example, image of 1 is -1. That is negative sign of 1, which means below 0. How I mentioned in Germany, to count the severity of coldness requires below 0, where above 0 if it is considered as hotness, severity of hotness. In the case of severity of coldness, we need some number below 0. That's how this Jahlan numbers have come in picture, that is numbers to count severity of coldness with the help of even negative has come into picture. So, here image of 1 is -1. Why I am mentioning means, try to visualize you standing in front of a mirror and lifting right hand. Obviously, mirror image will lift left hand, opposite of right hand. Not only this, you could observe one more thing, children. When you stand in front of a mirror, maybe 1 foot away, physically in the outside world, you could find your image inside the mirror 1 foot away from the mirror, but opposite of our direction. That is, if we are 1 foot away from the mirror outside, image of us in the mirror will be 1 foot away inside. If you go 1 step backwards of the mirror, you will find even your image also going 1 step backwards. That means your image is how far from mirror is reciprocal, which means is directly connected to the distance that you are, how much you are away from the mirror physically outside. That's how image of 1 is -1. If I consider mirror exactly at 0, I have 1 step, 1 foot away from the 0 in positive direction. Image of it gives in the inside of the mirror 1 step away, but in opposite direction of that positive, in negative direction. That's how that minus sign has come. So, is the reason why I am calling images of these natural numbers, giving us so on negative form of integers. So, here all the integers can be subdivided into 3 sets. 1, positive integers, which are nothing but natural numbers. Negative integers, that is images of those natural numbers, as I said, and 0. Can I have an image for 0? No, it is just because image of mirror is on the mirror itself. That's how there is no negative form of 0 or image of 0. Children, here can you tell me the smallest integer? No. Why? Because in the negative direction also I have got so many numbers, as in the positive direction I have so many numbers. So, you know that in the integer set there is no smallest integer. If at all you want to say, you can take minus infinity as the smallest integer. Next, we have, do we have any biggest positive integer? Do we have any biggest positive integer? No. It is because in positive direction also I don't have end. It's a plus infinity or uncountable. Children, mainly in integers also no part numbers, no fractions. Whatever the numbers are there in integer set also, they are all full in nature, which means here also I have the difference between any two continuous integers being 1. That is, if at all I take minus 3 and minus 4 as two continuous integers and their absolute difference, that is, what is the smallest integer? What is the smallest integer amongst minus 3 and minus 4? It is minus 3. So, minus 3 is the biggest integer, minus 4 is the smallest integer. I am sorry, I might have mentioned wrong. Minus 3 is the biggest and minus 4 is the smallest number. So, the difference between those two integers is minus 3, minus of minus plus 4, and it is plus 1. So, the difference between any two continuous integers always remains 1. These are the important properties. Let us revise. In integers, there is no smallest integer. If at all you want, you can say as minus infinity as the smallest integers. In integers, biggest integer is plus infinity. Integer set contains all the whole numbers along with their images, and there is no image for 0. And integer set subdivided into positive integers, negative integers, and 1 0. And in integers, the difference between any two continuous integers is always 1. Next to this, we have learned in our class 7 standard rational numbers. Children, rational numbers are represented by the letter Q. Why these are represented by the letter Q? It is just because rational numbers are also called as quotient numbers. Quotient. Why this quotient? It is because rational number, I have missed here L. Rational numbers, that name has come from ratio of all numbers. Ratio of all numbers. From this phrase, name of rational number has come. What do you mean by ratio? Ratio is one way represents the division operation. In division, the result is called quotient. That is the reason why rational numbers are also called quotient numbers, and first letter of it, Q, is used for representing rational numbers. Children, we will be in detail learning need of rational numbers, definition of rational numbers, examples and non-examples for rational numbers, and operations on rational numbers in our next sessions. Thank you. Children, students, I expect from you today what we have learnt, all that written in classwork. That is, we have learnt today various types of numbers and there are some important properties, that is natural numbers and whole numbers, integers, rational numbers. You required to write all these things in your classwork in neatly. We will be having 2 works in notebooks. One, classwork. Classwork supposed to contain whatever I teach with those definitions, examples, you writing them in a proper way. Though you are watching me online, you need to write down all this in classwork and keep a separate notebook for doing exclusively exercise work. I will be sending along with this in your groups through your class teacher or a coordinator exercise work and some other example questions which you need to write in exercise notebook. So, in this year we will be having totally 2 notebooks, one exclusively for writing things what we cover in class called as classwork, and one book exclusively maintained to do question and answers of exercise, which we call it as exercise work. So, I instruct you to write whatever we have learnt in this class in your class work, and waiting for my postings for the sake of exercise work. Thank you. Pass no, okay na?
ఇప్పుడు కొట్టండి.